ever look up at the sky when it's pouring rain and just think, whoa,
Yeah.
where did all this come from?
It's a lot more complicated than people think. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we're going to be diving into today, the incredible journey of rain. We'll be starting, with just like a little drop in the ocean
Yeah.
and following it all the way to when it like hits your head.
Mm-hmm.
So to get us there, we're going to be, using an educational text
Right.
that explains the whole process. It's going to be really interesting. I guarantee by the time we're done with this deep dive, you'll look at clouds totally differently.
I think so too. Yeah. Rain is something we all see, but like you were saying, a lot of people don't really understand how it works.
Totally. Okay, so to start off,
Hmm.
I know that the sun is a big part of this whole process.
Oh yeah, the sun's like the engine for the whole thing.
Okay, so,
It provides all the energy.
so how does that work?
So think about like a puddle in the street after a rainstorm. The sun comes out and that puddle dries up. That's the sun's heat changing the water from a liquid into a gas called water vapor. And that's a process called evaporation.
Okay, evaporation.
Okay.
So the water doesn't disappear, it just turns into like an invisible gas.
Yeah, it's all around us all the time.
Wow.
It's wild to think about. And it's not just puddles that evaporate.
Oh, right.
I mean, the oceans, lakes, rivers, even like the moisture in the soil.
Oh, wow.
They all contribute to this evaporation. So that's how we get water vapor in the air.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So like if you go swimming and then you get out and you feel that cool breeze and you dry off,
Yeah, exactly.
that's evaporation too.
That's evaporation happening right on your skin.
That's so
Oh.
cool. So even when it seems like a really dry day, we're actually surrounded by water.
Yeah, all this invisible water vapor just waiting to become rain.
So wild.
Yeah.
So what happens next? The water vapor's in the air. Does it just stay there?
No, it doesn't just hang out.
Okay.
Warm air is less dense than cold air, so it
Uh-huh.
naturally rises and carries that water vapor with it way up into the atmosphere. It's kind of like an invisible river flowing upwards.
Well, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
So we've got this like invisible river of water vapor going up into the sky.
Yeah.
But it has to become visible again to form clouds, right?
Yeah.
So what happens?
You got it. That's the next step. As the water vapor goes higher and higher, it starts to cool down because the temperature gets colder.
Okay.
And as it cools, the water vapor condenses. It changes back into liquid water droplets. It's like when you can see your breath on a really cold day.
Oh, yeah.
That warm, moist air from your lungs hits the cold air and it turns into those tiny little droplets you can see.
Okay. So is that how clouds are formed? Like billions of these little tiny water droplets all sticking together?
Yep, you got it. They clump together to form clouds, but it's not totally random how they stick together.
Okay.
You need these tiny particles in the air like dust or pollen, even sea salt.
Oh, wow.
They act like little nuclei. The water droplets form around them like they need a gathering point.
Oh, so cool. So, okay, we have these clouds full of water droplets.
Mm-hmm.
How do those turn into rain, though? What makes them actually fall down?
So inside the cloud, the water droplets are constantly bumping into each other and merging together. So they get bigger and bigger and heavier.
Yeah.
And at some point, they get so heavy that gravity just pulls them down and they can't stay up in the cloud anymore. That's rain.
So gravity's like the final step.
Exactly. And those updrafts of air that were keeping those little droplets aloft just can't hold them anymore.
Oh, wow. It's just so amazing to think that something as simple as the sun's heat can create this whole chain reaction that ends with rain.
It is really incredible. And it's not just rain. The same basic process, but with a few little tweaks, is how we get all kinds of precipitation.
Right, yeah.
Snow, hail, sleet, all that stuff. The temperature and the conditions inside the cloud are what make the difference between them.
So cool. Oh, and I remember reading in the text, there's a simple experiment you can do to see this whole rain-making process for yourself.
Yeah, there is. It's a really cool one. All you need is like a cup of water, some plastic wrap, and a sunny spot.
Really? That's it?
That's all it takes. The sunlight warms up the water in the cup and causes evaporation. So the water vapor rises up,
Okay.
hits the plastic wrap, which is cooler, condenses into water droplets, and eventually those droplets get big enough that they fall back down into the water.
Wow. So it's like a little tiny rain cloud in a cup.
That's exactly what it is.
That's so cool. So to sum up, we start with evaporation powered by the sun.
Yep.
Then the water vapor rises up into the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It cools and condenses to form clouds.
Right?
And then finally, gravity pulls those heavy water droplets down as rain. That's the whole journey.
That's it in a nutshell.
And I feel like we really take rain for granted sometimes, but it's such an amazing process.
Right. It really is.
And this whole thing is actually just one part of an even bigger cycle, right?
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the water cycle.
Yeah, the water cycle.
Yeah, that's the continuous movement of water, on above and below the surface of the earth.
Right, okay.
Rain is super important to it because it helps replenish all of our freshwater sources.
Yeah.
And, of course, it keeps all the plants and animals alive. It even shapes the landscape, over time.
That's true, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a really remarkable process when you think about it.
It makes those rainy days a little less annoying, doesn't it? Knowing what's going on.
Yeah, I think so.
So next time you see a cloud foam, think about all those tiny little water molecules and the incredible journey they went on.
Yeah.
From the ocean up into the sky.
Yeah.
And then back down to earth again as rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wild to think about. I mean, just imagine, like, how much of the rain falling today could have been part of a giant ocean at one point.
Yeah.
Or a waterfall. Or even just a puddle in your backyard. It's all connected.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping us understand all that.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
All right, so that's it for our deep dive today. Hope you learned something new about where rain comes from. It's pretty amazing stuff. And hey, next time you get caught in a downpour, maybe instead of complaining, you can appreciate the incredible journey that rain took to get there. Until next time.
See ya.